So, I was asked for a title for my speech, and I came up with one at the very last minute. It's called Anything is Possible, and I'm so glad that it's in line with the title of the day by Robin. So I'll start my speech with a very short demonstration of something I recently learned. I have to still work on closing the performance, but that is juggling 3 balls, and I just learned it in the past 4 weeks when I was home in Peru. Now, why did I decide to learn how to juggle 3 balls? I did it because I believe that any skill that you want to learn, you can do it if you commit to spending enough time practicing and also having a lot of patience, because at first I was just dropping the balls, and it's a really good workout. If you like doing squats, then you'll do a lot of those when you drop the balls. All right, a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Peru until I was 16, then I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. And if you wonder why I'm wearing this Peruvian beanie, well, the reason is my dad was born in the countryside of Peru. Now, he has an awesome story, but I'm not going to go into details. When I was born, my dad got a job in the city of Huaraz, which is in the Andes. So my mom would take me every other month to visit my dad, because my mom lived with her parents in Lima, the capital city. Now, every time she would bring me back from Huaraz to my grandparents' house, I would show up to grandma's house with my beanie. So they decided to nickname me Chuyo, and that's the Spanish word for beanie. That's the reason I wear it. Now, if you may pass it around, you guys can check it out if you're not afraid of germs.
You want to smell it?
Dina is not here today, but the other reason I took off my hat is so you guys could check out the awesome haircut that she gave me. Okay, what makes me, or what gives me the authority to tell you guys, or to remind you that anything is possible? And I'll say personal experience is, I think being here, giving a speech to you guys in English, which is not my native language, is proof that I've accomplished something. Now, I gotta say that it was very challenging to move to another country, and it wasn't the first time that I had experienced a cultural shock. Now, before I tell you about my experience learning English, I'll stop so I can tell you about my first cultural shock. So, as I said earlier, my dad is from the countryside. He got a job in Huaraz, and I was traveling back and forth. Well, when I was 5, my mom got tired of traveling back and forth, and she decided that she should keep my dad company. So my mom and I moved to Huaraz. I went to school in Huaraz for 3 years, and it was wonderful. It was a small town, but when I was 8, my parents decided to move back to Lima because the schools, well, Lima is a more developed city, and the schools offer better education. My parents always looked out for me. They wanted me to be educated and so that I could have a bright future. Thank you, parents. So moving back from Huaraz to Lima was my first cultural shock, because in Lima, the boys are very street smart. Now, I was like very innocent coming from the countryside. Like I was so innocent, I would never lie to people. And so when I moved to Lima, people just wanted to bully me and just take advantage of me. Fortunately, I always had people that stood up for me. So it wasn't so bad, but I had to learn to adjust to a different culture, a different environment. So when I was 16, I moved to the States. And what helped me learn English as fast as I did was that I was very narrow vision. I'm not sure I'm using that expression correctly, but what I mean by that is that I was very focused. I wanted to learn English so I could start going to college. And I just focused on that. Like, forget parties, forget having fun. Just, I focus on talking to as many native English speakers as possible. And that was my goal. 8 months later, I took the English proficiency test and got just enough points to be admitted by ASU. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was my accomplishment. A few years later, I graduated from ASU, and now I'm working on developing my communication skills, both in English and Spanish. I don't speak either language perfectly. I was too young when I moved here to learn really good Spanish, and I moved here too old to speak perfect English. But that's not going to stop me from growing as a person. My goal later on in life is to pass this message to other people, especially young people. I want to eventually spend time in my dad's hometown, a very small town, almost like a village, less than 500 houses, and be a teacher there, so I can tell young boys my story. Okay, I'll have to do more because that's all I got.
Mad Max!